Delighted to have in our company Aldershot Town, still the record goal scorer, Mr. Mark Butler. Mark, you're a fan of the club as well as the record goal scorer, and now co-commentating. So you've seen the club before, you've seen them post 92, and now you're seeing a new era. What's it mean to you seeing a day like today?
Well, I think today is something that I think the club deserves an awful lot of credit for. It's something which is recognising people that have supported this football club for a long time. So I think the club deserves a big, mention for how they've done this, especially in today when the difficult circumstances with the game being called off. But it's just a time. All those things you said about me were lovely, and I'm really, really pleased and proud of them. But today it's just about Frank Burt. He's 100 years old. He's been supporting this football club all this time, and it's fantastic. And I just think it should all be about him. And a very happy birthday, Frank. And I'm very, very proud that I've been invited to celebrate it with you.
When did you first come along to the shops and watch them?
I was an early teenager. I say early, can I get earlier than 13, 14. I remember. Was a current fan as well, a guy called Mark Nichols, who still watches us now, invited me along, and I had the glorious period which got me hooked of the cup run and the Dungworth goals, which is one of the reasons I wanted to play and wanted to score goals with John Dungworth. Had the pleasure of meeting him about a year ago when one of your functions was put on, which was fantastic. And that got me hooked, and then I went off to play a little bit of football, and then our paths met again, obviously, when I was lucky enough and feel honoured enough to come and play for the club, and 6 wonderful years later, it was fantastic, best years of my football life.
Where did you used to sit or stand when you were at the old Rec?
East Bank boy, yeah, but it was nothing to do with the traditional bobber boot type East Bank boy. It was just, I was an East Bank lad, and I would just watch the game from there, and we used to travel as well. We used to get our little travel supporters club documents from underneath the old wooden sales stand, and then we used to go away. I remember going away a few times with the shots on the official coach. We were just young kids at the time, well, teenagers at the time, so thank my mum and dad for letting us go as well. But yeah, really good times.
And as a supporter, reason to be optimistic looking ahead now?
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. The obvious low is Shortwood at home, not Shortwood away. I thought that was a good day out. Shortwood at home was a nightmare. 10 points. Not really sure what kind of team we had at the beginning. They're all the lows. The highs are teams come together. We've got rid of the minus 10 points. We're out the relegation zone. We have a battle there still, but I'm very confident that we can stay out of that relegation zone. And we've just got a little thing bubbling underneath which just keeps us all interested in the FA Trophy. And no assumptions to be made, but with the right attitude and the right performance, we can get into the semi-final. And how nice a story would that be after last year's disaster?
Well, Frank would finish off his season for his 100th birthday with a Wembley trip. You fancy that too?
Well, I would certainly fancy it, but the way you just said that, I think that's the best present ever. I mean, like I said to you, it's about Frank Burt. 100 years old, and a first ever trip for Aldershot Wembley. You never know. Now you've said it, I think strange things happen, so fingers crossed.
Thank you, Mark.
Got two fantastic players from Aldershot Football Club, Murray Brodie and Joe Jopling, who are present here this afternoon on a very special occasion. It's the 100th birthday of Frank Burt, and you've seen there some of his memories. I wouldn't mind having his memory at my age, let alone his age. He's got something special about him, hasn't he?
He's a very, very impressive man. I've been thinking since I've been here and looking at him if I can remember him being there, and I think I may have a memory of Frank Burt then. I didn't know him, I didn't speak to him, but I think he must have been such an important person even then, when I go back to the 70s, that he's made a connection with in my mind. So,
and to be invited to an occasion such as, what does that mean to you to be invited? How important is that kind of invitation for you?
Well, obviously it's very important. This is the club I played most of my career, and it's really the fans that helped my career. Frank is a very important fan, the longest serving fan as such. I had the most appearances playing wise. Frank's quite clearly got the most appearances watching. So it's a great honour for me to come and pay my respects to him.
Joe, obviously, the name Frank Burt is significant with this football club and the town as well, isn't it? And just up the road locally, you will have come across his name on many, many occasions in the past.
Yeah, I've met Frank before in the football club. In the stands as we come up towards the directors and all that. I've met him a couple of times. I met him as a player as well, sitting in the stands. I've said hello to him a couple of times, shook his hand, and it was lovely. It was lovely remembering you. You know,
and when he talks about some of those memories and the matches, and there were some of the games he didn't mention, but the FA Cup run of 1979 is a particular favourite of Frank's, and both of you were. Oh, he did mention it. Yeah.
Just being short of the
quarter-final. Yeah, for you two guys, big memories.
Fantastic memories. You mentioned Carlisle as well. What a memory. I played in the Carlisle game, so that was fantastic memories. Going there, drawn, and bringing them back here in front of that crowd, like you said, 19,000, wherever. What a fantastic.
Was Carlisle in?
Carlisle were in Div 2. They were in top.
That was just before me.
They were top of Div 2 at the time.
And when you think back as footballers there and what Frank was talking about and the big crowds that they had, and they don't obviously get these days the capacities are a lot lower now, aren't they, than they used to be, and actually the attendances are as well, aren't they? But they were great times to be involved as a player, I would imagine.
Well, I can remember when I first came down here in 1970, I think September 1970. The average crowd was around about 5,000. It did slowly dwindle away to maybe 3 and 4. However, I do remember some of the big games playing here when it was quite electric to play. I know players play in front of 60,000, 70,000, but little Aldershot in front of 10,000 was pretty electric as well.
And for you,
it's like Frank bringing them games up again against Reading and all that. We used to get 9,000 against Reading. Playing away to Reading, we used to get about 16. You know, and it was unbelievable atmosphere, wasn't it?
Brian Clough's, when he brought his Brighton, I think.
Yeah, he's Brighton.
Brighton here. I think that might have been a Sunday game with a big crowd there. Yeah, so we've had some decent crowds, and Frank would have seen all the bigger ones.
He certainly would, and so for you two gentlemen, a special day, and it seems to have gone extremely well.
It certainly has.
It's been a special day for him, for a special man.
And I think the club can take some great credit for organising this for such a wonderful man.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Graham, I wanted to finish today by asking you your thoughts, but rather than me do it, I thought we'd bring a special guest in for you to talk to. So I'm going to hand over to Mr. Nicky Bull.
Good afternoon. I am joined by a real legend of Aldershot Town, someone that in my time at the club and in the day since I've left is probably the most underrated person that the club currently has, a guy that's dedicated a large part of his life to the club and continues to do so. Personally, it's been an honour to know Graham and his family. He's a wonderful man. And Graham, your thoughts on today?
It's a fantastic day, and to me, you have to acknowledge what the day's all about. And the day today is all about Frank Burt and Frank Burt solely. And I am here today for Frank Burt because he, to me, in my time as secretary here and then in the passing years since I've been doing other things at the football club, I got to know Frank very well. He always, as I said when I was talking, he used to always pop in, and whenever he did, it was never for what he could take out, it's for what he could give in, and he always wanted to give something to the football club, and that's what his sole purpose was. And I actually meant what I said. If every football club had supporters as dedicated as him, we had 100 Frank Burts, then there wouldn't be any problems that this football club has experienced time and time again over the years, because it's true dedication, and he's got all his faculties there, he's sharp, and the football club remains his life, and I just think that's fantastic. And when I spoke earlier on about the necessity for there being a football club here, that's what it was all about. It was all about people like Frank, because people like Frank make football clubs tick, and Frank Burt makes Aldershot Town Football Club tick, and he's a fantastic ambassador.
I have to be honest, when I got the call this morning at 8:30 to say the game was off, I was extremely disappointed. I was raring to see a good game of football at the Rec, but in hindsight now, looking back, in some ways I think it's good that the football was postponed today, because it's made the day more about Frank, and it's not taken anything away from him. It's been a fantastic day. A closing few words, please, Graham.
Absolutely, you're right. If the game had been on, we would have had to rush a lot more in there. I think it gave us time and opportunity to maybe spend a little bit more time, and also you wouldn't have had people in the room who may have had other tasks outside of the room around the football ground, and they would have been up and down. So it's a more relaxed atmosphere, and as it happens, I think that made it special. But what I do hope happens, and I think it's important, is next Saturday we're at home to Halifax, and we still will have the fans with their banners in the East Bank. They've spent a lot of time to get ready for Frank, and we still need to acknowledge that, and he will be 100 next Saturday. So whilst everything has been done up here, and it's been done fantastically well, and I'm really, really pleased for everybody that's played their part in making it. Next Saturday, I just hope that the fans can get their chance to acknowledge Frank, and he deserves that.
Thank you, Graham.
Thank you.